I would argue that almost every high-level performing athlete or famous actor has one thing in common. They have a coach, somebody to guide them along the way and help them be better at what they do. And a vast majority of billionaires and even millionaires also have coaches. They are called financial advisors. So on today's show, we are going to examine who could actually benefit from a financial advisor. Stick around.
It's time for the My Retirement Clarity Podcast with Lee Perkins, financial planner and president of J.L. Perkins Wealth Management. Get ready for a good dose of inspiration, simplicity, implementation, and of course, clarity on how to successfully prepare for retirement and grow and preserve your wealth. Here's Ben George with Lee Perkins.
Welcome in to My Retirement Clarity. I'm Ben George alongside Lee Perkins. He's owner and financial advisor at J.L. Perkins Wealth Management. Got a good show for you today. It's all about telling you who needs a financial advisor. I think for people that are in Georgia and from the South, you probably have heard you might be a redneck if, right, Lee? Well, this is you might need a financial advisor if. We're going to do a little bit of that today.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll have some fun with the show. And, I'm convinced not everybody out there needs a financial advisor, but there's probably a better than, more people do need an advisor who don't, but you want to make sure that you take everything into consideration before you actually go out and pull the trigger and hire somebody.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of people either don't need them or like to do it themselves right along the way, but there comes certain times in your life where it's a good idea to consider and work with a financial advisor. We're going to point out some of those situations today and see if maybe you fall under that umbrella or in one of these categories, and maybe it sparks that idea of, hey, let me actually go sit down with the people over at J.L. Perkins Wealth Management and start that process. So if you do want to do that, the easiest place to start is talkwithlee.com. You can schedule a meeting right there. You'll find us everything we do online at myretirementclarity.com as well. Well, before we jump into this, Lee, I saw a good headline out there. We talk about building a budget and, being spending conscious, right? So I thought this was pretty interesting. I don't know if are you a Taco Bell guy or were you ever a Taco Bell guy?
A little bit. I guess I'm more of an old school Del Taco guy. And you don't see a whole lot of Del Tacos now. I think there's one in Vegas. They'll pop up every once in a while in some of your bigger cities, but yeah, they're kind of a dying thing. But Taco Bell, I'll eat it. My son loves it because he can go there and get a pile of food for not a whole lot of money. So
yeah, exactly. Well, they're actually launching a 30-day subscription service at locations nationwide. So you can purchase what they call a Taco Lovers Pass. It's only $10 all it costs, and it entitles you to one signature taco each day for a 30-day period. So I mean, hey, if you're looking to cut back a little bit and save on lunch, maybe this is an idea.
Man, if I was a college student, I would be all over this because college kids are doing what they can for the most part to pinch pennies here and there. But I don't want to eat a taco every single day. But I do like the concept. I always, a buddy of mine and I talked about this 20 years ago. We had a really good barbecue place here in town, and we were like, man, we'd love to join the restaurant. And we were kind of thinking about it like a golf course. Mm-hmm. If I could join the restaurant and then just pay a plate fee every time you come in. Right. Kind of I don't know if that's a similar concept or not, but you think about how COVID has changed how a lot of restaurants do business. I mean, Chick-fil-A has revolutionized their whole process. It's not even anywhere close to what it was 2 years ago. So something like this, I mean, this, it seems a little bit outlandish right now, but who knows? In a couple of years, if this works out, I would imagine other places would sort of catch on and follow their lead on this.
We talk about how health is important in retirement. So it's probably not something you'd recommend for your clients, right? If you're trying to live a long retirement, eating Taco Bell every day is probably not going to get it done.
That is, you are probably 100% accurate there. Unless, I assume you could get some type of grilled chicken taco or something like that. There's probably a healthy alternative, but who knows? Probably eating in the same place every day is not the best way.
Yeah, not at all. All right, well, let's talk about an advisor and who needs an advisor. And again, these are some situations where, even if you're someone that's been doing it on their own for a while, feel like you're pretty good about handling your own investments, or you just enjoy the challenge of doing it yourself. There's a lot of people that are do-it-yourselfers. Well, there's just times where it might be an idea to start thinking about working with an advisor. So we got 5 examples and 5 scenarios where you might be someone that falls into this category. So The first one, Lee, if you're someone that is a procrastinator, right? If you're just slow to start and you kind of need that kick in the butt, an advisor can provide that for you.
Yeah, procrastination it's really just a big problem for a lot of people. I think everybody procrastinates. To that word, I get kind of tongue tangled on that word. We all put off things to some extent in many different areas of our lives. We put off going to the doctor. At least as guys, we do that. Sometimes maybe a big hairy project around the house or something that's health related, like an exercise program or something like that. Going back to the Taco Bell thing, I'm going to slam a bunch of Taco Bell tacos this weekend, but I'm going to start eating better on Monday. And then it turns out it's the following Monday. So whatever it is, it's easy to sort of put things off. Now, I see people put things off from a financial planning standpoint all the time because it's simply too easy to not do anything, to just keep doing what you're doing. Keeping that same status quo is really, it's too easy. But for a lot of these people, they know they need help, but they have a little bit of trouble getting started. And so, I've met with people who are, self-professed procrastinators, and they ask me to, they really want me to hold them accountable, give them deadlines on things. And so for a lot of people, that's exactly what they need. They need that accountability and they need that encouragement and they need somebody to sort of, nudge them along and keep them on track. So yeah, procrastinator, if you're a procrastinator, you are probably somebody who needs to hire a financial advisor. All
right. So that's the first one. How about, I like this one because if you search for anything retirement planning related, financial planning related, you're going to have billions of results, Lee. It's impossible to even figure out where to start most times. So if that's you, or you're overwhelmed by the thought of even just getting started, an advisor can be helpful.
Yeah, so much information is out there. It's information overload, and really people get bogged down in it. And so I meet more and more people nowadays who really, they admit that they just don't have any idea what they should do. They know enough to know that they don't want to try to figure things out totally on their own. Sure, there's still that person out there who thinks just because their 401k is doing okay right now, they've sort of figured things out. This person is usually only looking at one of the aspects of retirement. And so at some point, as people age, and some do this sooner than others, they figure out that there's way more to retirement planning than simply logging in every day and checking in on their 401k or their IRA and checking those balances. I would also tell you, Ben, that, I meet more and more people who really have gotten to the point in their lives where they just want somebody else to take care of everything. They're ready to move on to the next phase of their lives so that, they can do the things they enjoy. So the last thing they want to try to do is learn how to be a retirement planner. There's a lot to learn and a lot to consider. And some people just don't want that responsibility. I just think about my life. I'm 52. I'm starting to count down some of the things that I don't want to do anymore. I will reach a point in my life to where I don't want to cut grass. I do it right now, and it's a little bit of therapy for me because I go out to the river, to our property there, cut grass, watch kayakers go by. So it's fine. But if I'm 70, do I want to be out in the heat cutting grass? Probably not. And so that's kind of where it gets to people who enjoy doing their retirement planning on their own right now, but they know at some point they're going to have to turn that over to somebody else. Hey folks, Lee Perkins here. If you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know how much I hate taxes, and I know you probably do too. Our politicians are completely out of control. Their spending is off the chart, and you've got to be prepared for increasing taxes in the future. So we've written a book called Diffuse: 7 Steps to Protecting Your 401k or IRA from the Ticking Tax Time Bomb. You're going to want to grab a copy of this book and learn how you can protect yourself. Then you'll have to decide if you want to take action right now or if you'd rather wait until the IRS changes the rules of the game. Either way, the choice is yours. To get a free copy of the book, just text the word DIFFUSE to 478-475-2050. That's DEFUSE to 478-475-2050. And we'll send you a free copy. Thanks again for listening. Now back to the show.
Number 3 on our list, who even needs a financial advisor? Well, I found just over the course of our conversations on this podcast, Lee, that the one thing that I've learned a lot is that there's so much out there that I just don't know, that I've just never been aware of, right? Because I don't do this every day. I'm not experienced in finance, and there's just it can be very convoluted in many different aspects, and there's just so many options. So the value in an advisor, oftentimes that I feel, is that you don't know what you don't know, and if that's maybe where you fall into this bucket, so to speak, this is a great opportunity to work with an advisor and be able to kind of open up those doors you weren't even aware of.
Exactly. You're spot on there. And this is one that gets a lot of people in trouble. I mean, just last week, I met with somebody who was trying to do a rollover on his wife's retirement website. He's already a client, already has accounts established. And so they were trying to initiate this rollover on their own, but their plan was to transfer this money over into his account. And they just never really considered how important account ownership is, how account titling is key to keeping the IRS happy. And once I talked them through it, I mean, they were like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. So anyway, those kind of things with titling accounts and things like that, that's how the IRS keeps track of who's got what. And really it's for the sole purpose of making sure that they get every tax dollar that is due to them in the future. Again, it's not that these folks were trying to do anything wrong. They just didn't know. And so taxes that's just one of the areas that you can get into a lot of trouble if you don't know what you don't know. I would also say another area that can get people in trouble sometimes is properly preparing an income strategy. In retirement, it's not as easy as people think. And if you want to do it right, it's going to take some legwork on the front end just to make sure that you get the income that you need and that income is going to last a lifetime. But you also want to make sure that you do this in the most tax efficient way. And for most people that are out there that are, kind of doing things on their own, all they do is set up a monthly distribution and they never take into consideration taxes. So, that's just one of the things. There's all kind of things to take into consideration, Social Security planning, healthcare planning, a bunch of other things that we won't really get into on today's show. But yeah, there's a lot of things that people just don't know that they don't know.
It's like, people don't think twice about going to a professional in other areas of their life, right? To work on your car if you don't know anything about your car and all these different things. But for some reason, we're a little more hesitant to work with an advisor for whatever reason. But this is something to think about. If you're someone that, hey, you just don't know a lot about things, and even if you might know a lot, there's so many things that you aren't aware of. I'm telling you, besides listening to this podcast, I've learned that. So that's number 3 on our list is you just don't know what you don't know. All right, fourth one. And we talk about time, how we want to have control of our time. And, as life gets busier, we have to kind of prioritize. And oftentimes our finances kind of fall to the side. We just kind of stick with what we're doing. But if you're somebody that doesn't really have the time to devote to it that you should, then a financial advisor can help out there.
Yeah. And one of the things I try to tell people is once you retire, you're going to start out with as much time as you can possibly imagine. I mean, you can't fathom the free time that you have. Now, eventually that's going to get gobbled up by things and activities and people that know that you're retired. But you'll fill that time however you want to. Now, if you want to retire and then become your own financial advisor, you can certainly do that. There are people that do it. I would tell you to get licensed, read dozens and dozens of books, take continuing education courses, go to multiple conferences a year, or maybe even a few mastermind groups. And if you do that, then you can certainly do it. Those are the things that I do as an advisor who does this for a living. But if you did all this, and I mean, you then have got the responsibility of doing all this. I would say if you went through all that trouble and hassle, all the things I just listed, you should do that for a living and certainly get paid to do it. But if you're retiring, this is probably not what you want to spend your time doing. I've occasionally met folks who've retired and then early on spent hours every day watching the stock market and listening to financial news and all those kind of things. It takes time. You could figure it out, but man, is that really what you want to do? But like I said earlier, once most people get on into retirement, get a little bit older, they realize what everybody eventually realizes, that their time is way more valuable than their money. So why do you want to spend the greatest resource that you have doing something that you can hire somebody else to do. You can't hire somebody else to go on vacation for you. I guess you can, but that would be kind of silly. But you could certainly hire somebody else to manage your finances or cut your grass or do your laundry or whatever it is. So think about this another way. How many multi-millionaires do you think are their own financial advisors? There's just not a lot of them.
Yeah.
They've learned how to delegate so they can enjoy the lifestyle that all of this money affords them.
Well, one thing you touched on in that answer that I want to kind of follow up with, because this is number 5 on our list, but there's so many opinions out there when you're looking around, whether it be watching TV, reading a website, reading a newspaper, whatever it is. And if you're someone that kind of finds that you hear all these conflicting opinions and you don't really know who to listen to, well, that's where an advisor really can be helpful too. That you can lean on yourself or anybody on your team lead to really kind of help you clear up what you need to be listening to, what you need to be paying attention to, and what's best for your future.
Yeah. A big part of what I do, Ben, is I try to help my clients sort through all the information that's out there. There's a lot of good information, tons of it to consume, just like we talked about earlier, but there's a lot of garbage out there too. And sometimes knowing what to act on and what not to act on can be confusing. So, if you don't have an advisor that you trust, an advisor that knows you and knows what really motivates you and what concerns you, then you've got to sift through all that mountain of information that's out there and figure out what resource you should trust. Is it Clark Howard? Everybody knows Clark Howard. I'm not sure it is. His angle is always going to be to look for the cheapest solution. And what I figured out is the older my clients get and the more money they accumulate, they don't want cheap. They want high quality and they don't mind paying for it. Mm-hmm. Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, those are 2 others. Remember, these people are not licensed advisors. They're financial entertainers, and above everything else, they are financial marketers. They make money on the things that they market to their listeners and the consumers of their content. They got some really good ideas and some really good tips, but you can't always apply all of their advice to your situation because it just may not be relevant. Plus, they don't know all the moving parts of your situation, and that really matters. And so, in my opinion, that's why you need somebody that you know and can trust, that knows you and your situation.
Well, there's a lot of reasons to work with an advisor. These are just some of them we've identified here on the show today to kind of give you an idea if you're someone that hasn't thought about it and maybe you're thinking more about it because you're listening to this podcast and it's something that's on your mind. These are just some reasons why you're going to find value in an advisor and why it can really help you out in the long run. So again, if you want to step a time to meet with Lee and learn more about what he and his team at J.L. Perkins Wealth Management can do for you, the best place to start is talkwithlee.com. You can schedule a time there to meet too. And for anybody listening too, if you want to kind of get a sense of what Lee and his team can do for you, that Ticking Tax Time Bomb book offer you have, Lee, is perfect for that.
Yeah. So we've talked a good bit about taxes here today and the importance of knowing your tax situation. So it's just a book that we wrote, I guess it was last year. It's called Diffuse, 7 Steps to Diffusing the IRS Ticking Tax Time Bomb. And so if you want a copy of the book, all you need to do is text the word diffuse, DEFUSE, to 478-475-2050. Give us a good contact information, good name and address, and we'll make sure that we get that out to you as quickly as possible.
There you go. So take advantage of that. And again, it's complimentary. It's a great resource and tool for you to use, and it doesn't come with any strings. So you can always get with Lee afterwards, talkwithlee.com, and then find everything we do online at myretirementclarity.com. All right, Lee, great stuff. Maybe off to Taco Bell for a little afternoon snack when we get done talking here, but I enjoyed it.
All right. Good luck with that, Ben. Take care.
Investment advisory services are offered by J.L. Perkins Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor and insurance agency. Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Always consult with a qualified tax, legal, or investment professional before taking any action.